社评：美国的疫情泛滥将持续祸害世界，中南坑为何不向世界公布国内中共病毒真相呢？环球网撰文：特朗普的这场美国独立日庆典太可怕了，用中共冠状病毒疫情抹黑川普，继续给14亿老百姓洗脑。又开始胡编乱造了。撰文：中共国经业表明，疫情第二波不一定是灾难，那北京疫情如何解释呢？天下英才，聚的是什么样的才呢？中联部原副部长周立在《环球时报》发文，积极主动做好应对外部环境恶化的6大准备。
找几个记者来吵一吵呗，外面说的你越难听，我越高兴。哎，你麻烦了啊！到时候你的上级一急，把你给撤了，把我撤了又有什么好处啊？再派一个市委书记来，也不见得比曾彦雄好多少。境外的媒体信得过，母猪都会上树。你不再闹，不再违法，让政府觉得靠谱，估计不会再乱来。那我连武警我都不用请，你以为请武警不用钱啊？大好几百个武警警察住在这里，那我们邱市长的钱包一天一天就憋下来了。告诉你，现在只有一批人感觉到是一年比一年艰苦，谁呢？当干部，包括我。以前的市委书记哪有这么累的？什么事都得管，权力一天比一天小，手段一天比一天少。责任一天比一天大，然后呢，老百姓一天比一天胃口高，一天比一天聪明，一天比一天难管。国家这样的政策，我自己也深有感受。那么像这样负责任的政府，你不指望，你指望国外几个烂媒体、烂报纸、烂网站，好坏都颠倒了，他们负什么责任呢？啥事干不了，巴不得你们打成一团，社会主义大乱，他们就高兴了。
我们会觉得蛮突然的，因为在我们接到通知到确定离开，我们只有差不多48小时的时间。坦白讲，对于我们的工作交接以及我们在这儿的生活的交接来说，其实都会造成一定的困扰。
印度总理莫迪到访中共国与印度边防部队上越冲突地区，随行包括国防部长与陆军总司令，听取军方高层汇报。中共接下来又将如何接招呢？为南方洪灾救援在网上进行公开募捐，20天仅筹款2000多元。继吉林市、永州市宁远县、广西桂林市前后爆发蝗灾后，7月3日，湖北襄阳、云南江城区又出现了大面积蝗虫。
这雪花飘的，海南这地方现在竟然还能雨夹雪，不可思议了。
中共国又开始检查粮库了，黔南州都军市、黑龙江临甸、河南焦作、江西贵溪粮库相继被失火。中共国粮仓耗子贪官太多了，大饥荒近在眼前。
I felt in this shock because that is, well, blatantly eradicating one country, two systems. It is basically putting the last layer of the coffin over the heart of autonomy. And in the old days, China would always brag themselves that even though Hong Kong, there are problems, but it is still remaining autonomous and etc. They wanted to preserve the outer shell of Hong Kong in order to gain preferential treatment and abusing that treatment and also reaping the economic and political fruits out of it. But for now, they're doing it very blatantly, saying that it's definitely one country, one system. And actually, the international community well received that and well recognized that. I think under the national security law, a lot of Hong Kong politicians who have an international profile, who have been doing interviews with international press, who have been going to the hearing, doing testimony, they are actually being exposed to a danger that being accused of so-called colluding with foreign forces or even defection. So I think for us, the international front on Hong Kong, on the groundwork, will be largely limited. And we need a public figure that could do the international advocacy work on an international level. So that's pretty much the impetus behind my move. And for me, leaving the place that I love, I grew up with, I spent most of my life in, is definitely a really difficult decision. But I think it is more than
Let's unite around this simple fact. Chinese Communist Party lied, Americans died. It's over 130,000 Americans so far, Pete. And you know what? There's nothing on that death certificate that has party affiliation. Mm-hmm. The cause of death is the China virus. And what I'm sensing in this country, I thought last night the president's speech was actually a call for unity. And what I'm seeing now is anger, the American people over the lockdown, anxiousness about an economic future, and fear of getting the virus. And what we've done is we've taken all that negative energy and directed against each other. And then you've got these radical elements that want to basically have another Chinese cultural revolution to destroy our culture, our habits, our customs, our ideas, what Mao called the old kills. And what we have to do is unite around this central fact. China lied. People died. The CCP lied. Americans died. And so what do we do here? First of all, we have to recognize, besides killing over 130,000 Americans, they have put over 30 million Americans out of work and inflicted trillions of dollars of damage.
Defending his right to be a New Zealand politician. Dr. Young, will you be able to have a chat about your suitability to be an MP? Because some New Zealanders have concerns.
Suitable.
Dr. Zhang Yang became an MP in 2011. 6 years later, it emerged he had spent a decade at Chinese military institutions. He has confirmed he taught English to Chinese spies.
It is just incredible in the extreme that could be happening in our country.
When the revelation surfaced in 2017, Dr. Yang insisted he is loyal to New Zealand, despite having worked at a Chinese spy school he denies ever being one. Dr. Yang's re-selection as a national candidate earlier this year was confirmed only in a Chinese language statement. Since then, he has risen through the party's ranks after a leadership change. Why do you refuse to engage with English language media?
Oh, I've been talking to media.
Why can't we have an interview now? Why can't we have a chat?
This left-wing cultural revolution is designed to overthrow the American Revolution. In so doing, they would destroy the very civilization that rescued billions from poverty, disease, violence, and hunger, and that lifted humanity to new heights of achievement, discovery, and progress. To make this possible, They are determined to tear down every statue, symbol, and memory of our national heritage.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has called for maximum alert against the COVID-19. According to a report from Pyongyang's Korean Central News Agency, the pandemic was the main agenda of a meeting Thursday of the North's ruling Workers' Party.
We have carefully prevented an invasion of the deadly virus and have maintained a stable situation despite the global health crisis. This is a successful achievement.
Appearing in the state media for the first time in 25 days, Kim Jong-un warned that easing the regime's COVID-19 prevention measures could lead to serious crisis. Kim emphasized the need for strengthen those measures until COVID-19 situation stabilizes. This was the second time that North Korean Politburo has dealt with COVID-19 as its main agenda, the first being 3 months ago.
The Justice Department is jumping in on East Asian geopolitics, accusing 5 Chinese and 28 North Korean citizens of laundering $2.5 billion to fund Kim Jong-un's nuclear weapons program. Hours earlier, China's National People's Congress approved a security law giving Beijing new authority over Hong Kong. The United States and 3 of its closest allies say China's new law is in direct conflict with its responsibility to allow Hong Kong significant autonomy. The allies warned, quote, rebuilding trust across Hong Kong society by allowing the people of Hong Kong to enjoy the rights and freedoms they were promised can be the only way back from the tensions and unrest that the territory has seen over the last year. U.S. officials say the president is reviewing options to respond to China's national security law, including possible visa restrictions for government officials involved in the crackdown in China and Hong Kong, and cutting visas for Chinese students in the U.S. The president says he'll have an announcement on China tomorrow.
Secretary of State Pompeo saying that they want to restrict now some of the exports to Hong Kong, calling Hong Kong no longer autonomous from Beijing. Do we have another confrontation facing us with China?
Well, look, Secretary Pompeo is right. National Security Director O'Brien has made the same remarks. The President's made the same remarks. We are very unhappy with China. And yes, there are going to be export restrictions, particularly with respect to military, national security, and some sensitive high technology, because that stuff's going to leak right into communist China on the mainland with the takeover of Hong Kong. So we are very unhappy with them. We are very unhappy with China's hacking into our government and to our private corporations. They are not secure. That's why we're keeping Huawei and other Chinese phone companies out of our efforts to 5G, which I might add are roaring ahead with tremendous advances in spectrum and software. So, yeah, it's a big problem. We are not in a good mood about China. The president said that repeatedly.
If you're not in a good mood, does that spill over to the trade deal in general?
Well, I'm in a good mood, Ashley. I just want to emphasize that. It's just the China problem that we don't like. Will it spill over? At the moment, we are engaged on the trade deal, phase 1. Trade deal is proceeding. This is a kind of complex relationship, you know?
Canada joins the international community in expressing its grave concern with the passage of national security legislation for Hong Kong by mainland China. After studying the legislation and its impact, Canada will treat exports of sensitive goods to Hong Kong in the same way as those destined for mainland China. Effective immediately, Canada will not permit the export of sensitive military items to Hong Kong. We are also suspending the Canada-Hong Kong extradition treaty and updating our travel advisory for Hong Kong. Canada is a firm believer in the one country, two system framework. We will continue to support the many connections between Canada and Hong Kong while also standing up for its people. In the days and weeks to come, we're also looking at additional measures, including around immigration.
And if you look at this thing, and I'll actually read from it, and you can see, so you see the freedom in the United States, the people protesting being able to use their free voices, but those voices are not able to be heard in Hong Kong, because here's what's going on now. It says, the acts performed in the course of duty by the Office of Safeguarding the National Security of the Central People's Republic, in accordance with this law, shall not be subject to this jurisdiction of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. Moreover, in the course of performing duty, a holder of an identification document or a document issued by the office, including their vehicles, will not be subject to inspection, search, or detention by law enforcement officers of the region. So it's full Gestapo-like immunity for agents of the PRC, direct agents of the Chinese Communist Party, to then go into Hong Kong and do whatever they want. Now, a little bit of this we had suspected for the last couple of years because we had seen dissidents being rolled up. We'd seen them being disappeared in the past, and nobody was sure which unit had done it from the Hong Kong police force. No one was really sure who had taken it. We assumed it was Chinese MSS, their security forces. Well, now they're just coming out and they're taking the full mask off, and they are saying these agents are coming in from the mainland. They're going to go after Hong Kong protesters. And by the way, Steve, this law does not only apply to Hong Kong citizens. If you are a foreigner, if you're an expat, of course, Hong Kong is a massive expat community. This law applies to you fully as much as it would to a Hong Kong citizen. So there is no distinction between who you are. And by the way, that doesn't only apply. There's so many wide-ranging things of this to get into all the details. This even applies to things that you may have said on social media. We talk about the surveillance. If you said something on social media, if I said something, if Steve Bannon said something, if Raheem said something here on War Room, they could pull that up and then arrest you in Hong Kong just for something that you said years ago outside the country.
Steve, we've got about a minute left here.
Well, look, I think it compares and contrasts the two systems. Remember, we've been reporting from and broadcasting about Hong Kong since June of last year when the protests first started. And we said in the first couple of weeks, this was going to happen. This is the way the Chinese Communist Party rolls. And Raheem and Jack, what stunned me is that it's taken 6 months until you have any American citizens outside the Chinese embassy holding the Chinese Communist Party accountable. You know, we've heard Pompeo, we've heard Navarro, we've heard different voices in the administration. President Trump tweeted last night, it's now time to hold them accountable because they caused this. But I think it's pretty shocking. It took us 6 months to get here.
Okay. Steve Bannon, Jack Posobiec, Greg Manns, and more of what the people want in the live chat. More Jack Maxey after this break.
这次的制裁，首先是对这些银行，这些银行是对摧毁中国民主法治自由、加害香港同胞手足、杀害香港同胞的最后的核心力量。因为他没有钱，共产党做不了恶。我们让美国人认识到，共产党的恶主要是来自于美元和美国的华尔街和美国的媒体和美国的技术。这个制裁要对美国的企业斩断这些资本家的黑恶之手，对香港人的再次加害和对中国人民追求法治、民主、自由的巨大威胁。而且大家要认真看这个我会告诉大家，你说它多严重都行，我可以告诉大家，这个在之前1星期前，但都没有任何美国所有将领都认为这是不可能的，这比开战还可怕，但是它就发生了，这是法律不可逆转，这个基石奠定了，另外一个，大家要记住，只要这个发出去之后，刚才我说了，第一个基石。就是让新中国联邦已经成为美国政府各个以及社会来讨论新中国联邦是否是可以代表中国人民的合法政权。第二个，让美国永远不可撤的这种法律，不管哪党当选美国的白宫最后灭共必将成为主题。这两个基石开始，那么接下来是干什么？大家记住吹倒防火墙。
美国连续第3天报告每日超过5万例的新增感染病例。7月4日，日本东京冠状病毒新增确诊人数250人，累计感染19340人。俄罗斯的 CCP 病毒感染接近67万5千例，死亡人数超过1万人。印度的冠状病毒病例数再创历史新高，巴西超过150万例冠状病毒病例。据美国媒体报道， 川普总统的长子的女友冠状病毒检测呈阳性，川普总统签署延长小企业贷款计划的协议。由于病毒传播，杜尼斯的旅游业收入下降了47%，法国航空公司裁员7580名。卢浮宫在遭受病毒带来的严重损失后，将于周一重新开放。英格兰的酒吧、饭店和美发店重新开放。